Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome once again to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It is Christmas Eve, if you want to call it that way. It's Carb Day here in the Indianapolis 250. Tomorrow at noon Eastern Time, the 10th running of this great race. And today, a 20-minute practice session to fine-tune these race cars for tomorrow's 100-lap event. A big Carb Day here at Indianapolis. The Freedom 50 is back. You guys will see that at noon. But today, we have ourselves the Carb Day practice here at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, leading up to tomorrow's Indianapolis 250. The fastest driver in this session will receive a championship point towards the Haas IndyCar Series. The 33 drivers who have qualified for the Indianapolis 250 in this session here today. And it may give us a bit of a taste on who may be strong in tomorrow's race. Christian Vargas won the pole for the Indianapolis 250 on Sunday. He will lead us to the green flag tomorrow. Brad Stover, as you see right here, will be starting in the second position on the outside lane. And, of course, this is going to be his first ever Indianapolis 250, but definitely a driver to watch out for, especially considering where he is starting. Behind him here, you got John Stewart in the number 25. He will be starting in the 18th position for tomorrow's race. Caleb Rose barely made it in the last night shootout, 30th on the starting grid for Caleb Rose in his second Indianapolis 250. And we got Logan Williams here in the 38. Christian Master in the 55, the 2015 winner of this event. In the number 55 machine, starting in the 10th position there for Dracoan Racing Enterprises. Skylar Taylor in the number 9, only running this race. They are starting in the 24th position for tomorrow's event. Definitely watch out for Skylar to have a good opportunity in that number 9 machine. Jay Knapp starting 6th in the 98, and he has had a lot of good runs here as of late here in the Haas IndyCar Series. Benny Moore in the 37, starting in the 8th position, right behind Jay Knapp, a row behind him. And definitely another driver to watch out for. Trey Smith, our defending winner of the Indianapolis 250. He will be starting in the 17th position. Zachary Fitzwater, last year's runner-up in this race, will be starting 15th. Jacob Walker in the 88 machine starting 32nd. Landon Smith Jr. in the 07 will be rounding out at 26th. We got the 23 of Justin Zidell. He will be going off 23rd. Jim Finson-Leff in the 19 will be rolling off in the 14th position. Angel Oliveira in the 1 will be going out 29th. Nicholas Samadillo, the two-time winner of the Indy 250. He will be going out 22nd tomorrow. 13 of Avery Alford will be starting 3rd in the big race tomorrow. What a great time he had in qualifications on Sunday. Matt Tuck, the last driver to make it in, will be starting in the 33rd position. Chase Harris in the 31 will be starting in the 4th position tomorrow. The 00 of Luna Lona will be starting in the 7th position for tomorrow's race. Brad Stover, we've already talked about him. Eric Drew in the 52 will be rolling off in the 5th position in the car that won this race last year. The 75 of Chris Reynolds will be rolling off in the 12th, should I say 11th position for tomorrow's race. Bradley Bradshaw in the 34 will be starting in the 19th position. Cole Raymond in the 95 will be starting 13th. Aaron Abel will be starting in the 31st position for tomorrow's event. Noah Clifton in the 94 will be rolling off 21st. For DM Motorsports, 73 of Christian Vargas, your pole sitter for the Indianapolis 250. Tanner Parton in the 24 will be rolling off 27th for Nathan Orman Motorsports. Alexander Rowe will be right alongside him in the 28th starting position. Mason Brown in the 53 will be starting 25th. Logan Williams will be starting in the 9th position, the runner-up in 2021. John Andrews in the 21 will be rolling off 12th for tomorrow's Indianapolis 250. Roy Ribbleton in the 33 will be rolling off in the 20th starting position. Angel Gutierrez in the number 16 will be starting 16th tomorrow. And that may be it. Oh, we have had a bit of an incident there. Brad Stover getting caught up in an incident right there with Aaron Abel and the 00 of Luna Lona. Now, of course, this doesn't really mean much to tomorrow's starting position. Doesn't mean much to tomorrow at all, but You obviously want to get as much practice as you can in here during this Carb Day session. And that's going to be time taken away. Of course, you want to get the wreck out now, though. You don't want to be wrecking in the race because you're not going to win if you wreck out in this year's Indianapolis 250. It's going to be interesting to see how much attrition we will have in tomorrow's race. How wild will these guys be racing the racetrack in the Indianapolis 250 tomorrow? Obviously, we've already seen something go on here in the practice session. But definitely going to be a fascinating little note in tomorrow's race. We could see a very long green flag run to start off this race. Back in 2016, this race went 61 laps before a caution. Got a couple of years, I think 2020 as well, also went very long before we had a caution come out in that race. Going to be about a 40-lap fuel run for these drivers. Be a 2-stop race if it stays green. So many different factors leading into this year's Indianapolis 250. It's going to be a great race, no doubt about it. John Stewart in the 25, currently fastest. That's good enough for the fastest time right now at a 40.007. Of course, all these times, most of these times at least, being done in the draft. But now is when you want to learn how to drive in the draft and be comfortable with it, because you're going to be doing it all day tomorrow in the 100-lap event. So if you are uncomfortable in the draft, you might not do too well in tomorrow's race, and going to be interesting to see which of these drivers can maneuver the draft and use the draft to their advantage, because these guys stay right on each other nearly the entire race, but as the tires wear out, it will get more difficult to make passes, and if we have a green flag cycle of pit stops, the pack will split up, and you definitely want to be up front once the first green flag cycle begins, and in the outside wall, Chase Harris. And things like that are what you need to get out of your system today, because you cannot afford to do that in the race tomorrow. Of course, a tap like that, these cars are generally pretty durable in the game to avoid getting knocked out and having significant damage. But still, you do not want to be doing that tomorrow. And off the exit of Turn 4, reminding me a lot of J.R. Hildebrand in 2011 in the Indy 500. And who knows, we could see a last lap pass. You just don't know. This race gives us so many different moments, so many different things that could come up in the race tomorrow. And any of these 33 drivers can go to victory lane. Last year, Trey Smith started 32nd in this race and went on to win the Indianapolis 250. Jacob Walker is starting in that position this year in the number 99 and number 88, actually. His teammate Jim Vincelep's in the 99, excuse me there. But Jacob Walker, absolutely a driver to watch out for, since he's starting in the same position Trey Smith started in. But I'd watch out for Matt Tuck in the 51 as well. Even though he is starting in the last position, he's in the race. That is what counts. And he's got 100 laps to move from the back to the front. I'm sure he's hoping he does not have any mechanical issues in that Grattan Autosport Acura tomorrow. But we'll just have to see how it all ends up going down. But if he can be there at the end, watch out for Matt Tuck. He's got the experience. He knows how to get it done here in the Haas IndyCar Series. He's won a race before. We'll just have to see if he can pull it off here in the Indianapolis 250. Of course, Nicholas Samadio, a driver to watch out for as well. And that is Matt Tuck's teammate there in the number 5. So, and watch out for Samadio. Of course, a 2-time winner of this race. Won it 5 years ago, and then 3 years ago as well. 2018 was his first ever race victory. He won that Indianapolis 250 while driving the number 5. And he's back in the number 5 this year for Grattan Autosport. Definitely excited to see what Samadio can do every single year in this race. And he will be rolling off there, like I mentioned, in the 22nd position. One driver who I am very impressed with throughout Indy 250 week is Avery Alford. He's still last in the point standings of the Haas IndyCar Series, but had a great run in the Grand Prix last Thursday. And he's going to be starting in the 3rd position. He could easily lead the first lap of tomorrow's race if he peeks down to the inside and takes the lead away from Vargas there on the first lap. And Avery Alford, what a win it would be for him. He's never gone the victory lane before on the channel. His first career win is the Indianapolis 250. That would be something else right there. Alexander Rosa guy, who I'm also intrigued to see. We have not seen Alexander back behind the wheel in quite some time on the channel. First start of the year here on the channel. But it's a driver who definitely knows what he's doing. 10 career wins on the channel, most of those in the stock car. Of course, he's always had Max Anderson as his driver for this race, and now he is trying it himself, and he barely made it on. He was the fastest driver, however, in the last 9 shootout, so he will be rolling off 28th. Of course, Chase Harris, a driver to watch out for as well, back in the Haas IndyCar Series, driving this year's Indianapolis 250. Of course, the 2020 champion of the series. got 3 past champions of the series in this field. Of course, Justin Zaidel and Nicholas Samadeo, teammates at Grattan Autosport, and then Chase Harris, the 2020 champion of the series. So you know those drivers will definitely be ones to watch out for in the big race tomorrow. Cole Raymond won our last high-speed oval here in the Haas IndyCar Series at Kansas. Noah Clifton. Clifton's a guy we really haven't talked too much about, really. I feel like all season long in the Haas IndyCar Series, but just during Indy 250 week in general, haven't seen much of Noah Clifton. But Clifton is a driver who has been in many of these Indy 250s. This is going to be his 7th running in this race. He's got more experience than most of the field here today. He's actually been in the same amount of Indy 250s as the guy he's passing right now, Christian Master, who, like I said, won this race in 2015, the second running of that event in 2015. I almost don't want to count that one because that was by far the worst one that we ever ran, but regardless of the fact, Master is a past winner of this race, his 7th Indy 250, and a great opportunity for him to get a second Indianapolis 250 race victory. Of course, there's our pulse hitter, Christian Vargas, and what a surprise this was as well. Vargas sits 25th in points. Of course, I say that I have not adjusted these point standings for the points that they were awarded for Indy 250 qualifying. So Vargas is actually probably a bit further ahead because Ace Garcia is ahead of him, and Ace Garcia failed to qualify for the race, unfortunately. But Ace Garcia did win the pole for the Freedom 50, which you will see in less than an hour here on AG, the channel. Very excited for that race. Very excited to see the return of the Freedom 50. It's going to be a great one, and we are all very excited for that one here in just under an hour. And of course, Ace Garcia, Thomas Troxel, and Bruno Diacomo, the 3 drivers who attempted this Indy 250, who failed to qualify, who will be running in that Freedom 50 here in just about 50 minutes. So we'll adjust those points there for the Indy 250 qualifying session once I'm done with this, and then we'll give you the accurate points for the Haas IndyCar Series going into tomorrow's race once we begin. Logan Williams, I think it's another driver to watch out for in this race. A bit of a sleeper pick, you know. If I have to pick 2 drivers who I think have a very good chance of winning this race, Logan Williams in the 38, absolutely a driver to watch out for, has finished 2nd in this race before, has run this race, be his 3rd time here in the Indianapolis 250. And obviously starting on the inside lane in the 9th position, great starting position for him there. But the other driver I'm watching out for, this lady right here, Luna Lona, won the Grand Prix of Indianapolis on Thursday, last Thursday, I should say, not yesterday, but last Thursday. And she's a driver who has been very fast all season long, comes into this race the points leader of the Haas IndyCar Series, and I have a very good feeling about her here in this year's Indianapolis 250. Starts in the 7th position and could very well be right in the thick of it near the end of the race tomorrow. So, going to be fascinating to see if that is in fact the case. Of course, you got these guys back in here, Zachary Fitzwater, Trey Smith. What a battle they gave us last year in this great race. And let me tell you, those are 2 guys to watch out for as well, because Trey Smith, the defending winner of this event, and Zachary Fitzwater, as we have mentioned all week long, has never finished outside the top 10 in the Indianapolis 250. Quite an impressive stat. He's going to be rolling off 15th, a great starting position for him, and he could very well be in contention along with his teammate Luna Lona. I'd watch out for these 2 guys as well, the NS Racing cars that did qualify, the 2 full-time cars at least. Jay Knapp going to be rolling off 6th, I should say. Very fast in qualifying. Was actually the fastest driver on Saturday in the first day of qualifications. And of course has had a lot of momentum going into this race here in the Haas IndyCar Series. A very good opportunity for him. Then Aaron Abel has had a very strong season, has never won a race before on the channel. As a matter of fact, neither has Jay Knapp. Both of those drivers there at NS Racing have never won before in anything on the channel. So it's going to be fascinating to see what they can do. But obviously NS Racing, they're based in Indiana. This is Nathan's home racetrack. We're excited to see what these 2 drivers can in fact pull off here. And even though they're Indy 250 only driver of Bruno Diacomo failed to qualify, I do feel like the 2 full-time cars will be strong. Aaron Abel will be starting deep in the field, but like I said, Trey Smith won this race last year from the 32nd starting position. He could very well have a good opportunity. And it's going to be a great race, no doubt about it. John Andrews, another guy who has had a lot of opportunities in this one. Going to be his 6th Indianapolis 250. A best finish of 6th in 2020. And John Anders, a veteran to this race, knows how to get it done, and unfortunately, he's the only driver for his team at Crown Ultra Racing in this year's Indianapolis 250, as his teammate Thomas Troxel failed to qualify. But I know Roberto Crown Jr., they're going to be rooting for John Anders to get this race victory, and they're going to put all their focus on this 21 for this race. Going to be fascinating to see what Anders can in fact do. Jim Vincenleff, a guy, bit of a sleeper pick as well, driving for Webb Racing Enterprises. I think this 99 machine could be a threat to win this thing. Vincenleff, a very strong driver over in the Wall Sprint Series, and first ever open wheel start for him. He's going to have a great opportunity here in this Indianapolis 250. So fastest driver still, John Stewart. And that's good for John Stewart, trying to get something in the championship. Comes into this race 15th in the point standings. Of course, that's before I adjusted it for the qualifying results for the Indy 250, so those points are not quite in there yet. But John Stewart did not qualify top 10, so he did not receive any bonus points for qualifying, but he may get a bonus point right here if nobody surpasses his time. And considering how late we are here into this Carb Day practice session, a good opportunity that John Stewart will get that bonus point towards the championship there for Wisconsin Speedworks. And of course, Wisconsin Speedworks, owned by Andrew Williams, his brother, Logan Williams there. Going to be starting in the 9th position for American Motorsports. These guys definitely drivers to watch out for in tomorrow's event. Aaron Abel was fastest in the practice session we had almost 2 weeks ago, the first practice session, the full-time practice session. But other than that, that's really the only time we've seen Aaron Abel have any strength here during Indy 250. We, of course, had to go to the last 9 shootout, barely made it in. Only 2 drivers below him who made it into the race. But nonetheless, he's going to be here, going to have an opportunity at this Indianapolis 250 race victory. Excited to see what this 97 can do. Excited to see what all these drivers can do. It is going to be an incredibly fascinating race, as it always is every single year. And it's hard to believe we're at the 10th running of the Indianapolis 250. 10 times we have done this race now. There will be 10 times once we complete with the race tomorrow. And once again, I have to thank each and every one of you for making this event what it is. You guys absolutely love it. Such an honor to have all you guys a part of it each year. And I cannot wait for the green flag tomorrow here in this year's Indianapolis 250. The 10th running. It's going to be a special win regardless of who wins it. And any of these 33 drivers can go to victory lane here tomorrow in the biggest race on the channel. Who knows? Just who knows? I mean, there's just no way of really truly predicting this race. Obviously, the ratings equal for all of these drivers, so anyone can go to victory lane. Of course, like we mentioned, Trey Smith won this race from 32nd last year. Let's have to see. Maybe the driver from 33rd wins it this year in Matt Tuck. What a win that would be for Matt Tuck, especially considering all the struggles he has had over in the Wall Cup Series. Be a lot of good storylines if any of these 33 drivers win. 9 of these drivers have never gone the victory lane in a race on the channel before. We could see a driver get their first career win on the channel in the Indianapolis 250. There's your fastest driver, though, here in Indy 250 Carb Day practice. John Stewart. That's a good sign, because the practice session you are seeing now is connected to the same race weekend as the race. So what these guys have now is what these guys have for the race tomorrow. And John Stewart may have one of the fastest cars. Who knows? Going to be starting in the 18th position tomorrow. And this is the first ever Indianapolis 254. The development driver of Josh Williamson, John Stewart. Of course, Josh Williamson called this race with us 2 years ago. Tomorrow we're going to have Micah Knapp and Andrew Miller in the booth. 2 of my closest friends that I've ever met during my time on YouTube. I figured it would be fitting to have 2 of my closest friends. Of course, a lot of you guys are great friends of mine, but those 2 in particular, 2 of my closest friends here. And I found it very fitting to have both of them in the booth with me for the 10th running of this special race. And both of them are going to provide excellent commentary, as both of them have called this race in the past, and they know what it's about. And we'll just have to see how it all goes down. But hey, Andrew Miller going to be racing in the Freedom 50 here, coming up at noon Eastern Time right here on AG the channel. Ace Garcia going to lead us to the green flag in that event. We are so excited for the Freedom 50. And I have already recorded it. And let me tell you, it was one heck of a race. You absolutely want to check that one out. Don't miss it. It's going to go by in a flash, as it always does. A 20-lap race for these open-wheel machines. Oh, look at that! Right at the end, Brad Stover takes it away from Jon Stewart. How about that? For our outside pole sitter going under 40 seconds right at the end of Carb Day practice to steal that bonus point away from Jon Stewart. That is impressive. And that's a good sign for Brad Stover to possibly go to victory lane tomorrow. Who knows, but that's going to give him a lot of confidence, especially considering he's starting right there on the front row. He's been running very well this season. Got the win at Lime Rock Park earlier this year. That is a surprise. I thought Jon Stewart was going to get that bonus point. Not going to be the case. It's going to be Brad Stover who is going to be fastest here in Indy 250 Carb Day practice right at the end of the session. How about that? They're lined up. Of course, we'll wait until tomorrow to run the race. But what a Carb Day practice session that was. Brad Stover, fastest here. Jon Stewart, Noah Clifton, Angel Gutierrez, and Christian Master, the top 5. You see them lined up. Of course, we'll record the race here soon, and then, of course, you guys will see it tomorrow. But you see the top 5 there, starting Christian Vargas, Brad Stover, Avery Alford, Chase Harris, and then Eric Drew in the 52. Going to be a very interesting start here for the Indianapolis 250, especially considering Brad Stover was fastest here in Carb Day practice. Go through the rest of the results here. You know, Zachary Fitzwater's slowest here today, but you got to think, too, he may not have gone out there with anybody, may not have had a big draft. He may have kind of done a little bit of a Jimmy Johnson-type move where he went out by himself. Like we said, Fitzwater's never finished outside the top 10 in this race before. And really, this practice session means nothing. There's a reason why we added that bonus point on, so it did actually have something and a reason to exist. We always had done it, and it didn't have any effect on the race or anything in the championship. So we decided to go ahead and give out a bonus point for the fastest drivers in these practice sessions this year towards the championship. Brad Stover's going to get it, and that's good for a driver who is starting up front. He's gotten now 10 bonus points here going into the race, and if he wins, he could be the new points leader. But I guarantee you, no one's going to be thinking about the championship tomorrow. These 32 drivers are all going to be thinking about kissing the bricks at the end of the race. But also, I want to think about how you get there to that point to be in contention for the race victory. All these guys are going to be thinking about getting the race victory. It's all going to be about the race. 100 laps tomorrow, noon Eastern Time, right here on AG, the channel. One more event here in Indianapolis before we get to that race. It's the Freedom 50 coming up in under an hour, noon Eastern Time, right here on AG, the channel. That's going to be a heck of a race. Don't miss it. And I hope you all have a happy Carb Day. Thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations to Brad Stover for being fastest here in Carb Day practice. And we'll see you guys tomorrow for the Indianapolis 250, noon Eastern Time, right here on AG, the channel. I will see you guys later.